Welcome back to the morning show. Many of you will probably be putting some marshmallows on your sweet potatoes this Thanksgiving, but we're doing some other stuff with them today.
That's right. But it is kind of a food thing.
Yeah.
And I had to do a food thing for Thanksgiving, and also, though, we have to blow something up because I haven't done it for a while. I was gone for a couple of weeks. So in the second segment, we're going to have an actual cannon where we're going to launch hundreds of marshmallows up in the air in the parking lot. But to start with, yeah, we have to talk about marshmallows. And marshmallows are delicious.
Yeah.
I love them. Basically, it's a great way to get sugar quickly into your system,
yeah,
which is always good. And the way you make these things, actually, is you sort of whip together, there's gelatin, there's cornstarch and sugar and all kinds of stuff like that. And they have some very interesting properties. There's little tiny pockets of gas in these things.
Okay.
And there's a little bit of water and things like that. And so what you can do is if you just take a marshmallow and you pop it in your microwave, okay, you should do that sometime on a plate. It's very safe. It's not dangerous at all. It'll just puff up and it'll look really neat. And then when you take it out, it cools off and it's gooey and sticky and you can still eat it. We've done in the past, in the show, we've taken a marshmallow and we've stuck it in a vacuum chamber and we've sucked all the air out and it gets really big.
Right.
So I thought of just yesterday a way to do both things at once.
Okay.
So here's what we're going to do. Here I have a little bit of boiling water. And if you have water boiling in a closed container and then you take the thing off the heat and you close it off so that it's sealed and you cool it off. When the water condenses, the water vapor condenses back into liquid, you form a vacuum inside the bottle.
Okay.
So that's how we can, instead of having a vacuum pump, we can do this with boiling water. And at the same time, of course, it's really hot in there. So we're going to expose this marshmallow, which I've attached to a little paper clip hanging under, a hooky under the cork, to both heat and vacuum at the same time.
Interesting.
Okay.
So here we go.
So here we go. So I'm going to take this thing off. Now this thing is not hot yet at the top, that's why I can do that. I've got to be real careful. I'm going to put that in, and then I'm going to stick this thing into the cold water.
Is this an instantaneous thing, or?
It's pretty quick, yeah. So just give it a second, and you'll see what happens to the marshmallow.
There it goes. It's expanding.
And it works really pretty good. See that? It's getting huge.
And when you take it out, will it go back to its regular form?
Well, now let's do that. That's a good question. If I let the air into this thing, it ought to actually shrink. I'm making a huge mess, but that's okay. Okay, there we go. I'll take this thing out. And it's just a slimy little tiny marshmallow now. And it's really disgusting.
Yeah.
But it's still delicious. Okay.
Right.
Now, the other fun thing you can do with marshmallows is you can throw them in liquid nitrogen. So I threw a bunch.
We've got a marshmallow stew going on
here. So what I have in here, and it's hard to see, just a second ago I threw in a whole bunch of marshmallows into this bucket of liquid nitrogen. Liquid nitrogen is 77 degrees, oh what a shot.
We got another one.
77 degrees Kelvin, it's about 200 below 0 Celsius, very, very cold.
Yeah.
And so what happens is, it gets, now I'm going to do something that you should never do at home with your own liquid nitrogen. Never stick your hand in it, but it turns out, oops. Okay, see how easy that breaks? Okay, it's because it's so cold it just shatters. It's no longer flexible. But the interesting thing is now that the marshmallows have interesting thermal properties. Notice I could pick them up and hold them in your hand. It's not that it doesn't freeze your hand. You're not getting frostbite. In fact, it's cold, but it's not dangerously cold.
Right.
It doesn't have a lot of heat capacity, and it also doesn't conduct heat well. So you can, even though this thing is incredibly cold, you can hold it in your hand without it absorbing so much heat that it gives you frostbite.
Still, I don't do this at home, but
you should never be such a slob such as myself when you eat at home. But the fun thing is I can take this little guy. So you can sort of breathe.
Sure.
Okay, it's because it's so cold.
Make your own hot air.
All right, so anyways, you want to try this, Robert? Here.
We'll bring him in. We're cutting into his weather anyway.
There we go. Okay, so anyways, if we have to wrap it up, but stay tuned because when we come back, we're going to be in the parking lot with a cannon. And we're going to launch several bags of these that we're going to load, and it's going to fly all over the parking lot.
Thousands of marshmallows all over the WCI parking lot. Our boss is going to love this. Plug out, you're wearing your Tuscola Warriors too.
Oh my gosh, yes. Well, we'll talk more about that when we come back. Warriors are awesome. Okay.
Let's check in with Robert right now.
You know I'm living for the day when I can go down to my